Hello, everyone. I think we are live on Discord. I'm not sure. I don't see very well the display on Discord. I don't see our cameras, but we are live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Discord. Let me know if you see well the cameras. Let me know on Discord if you hear us or not. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But let's start. This is the last AMA session during the hackathon. What do you think? Are you excited about the hackathon results? Brian and David?
I'm excited to see what comes in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
I know the submissions have been stacking up, and I haven't reviewed any yet because you're going to narrow them down first. And then, yeah, we'll take a look. Definitely excited to see what's in there.
Awesome. Give me a second because I want to share a screen and again for a second time and tell to everyone what's the hackathon in case we have some astronauts here in the audience. I would like to share what's so Edge Impulse is organizing since almost a month ago a global virtual hackathon for everyone. So we are looking forward to meet developers who wants to basically develop applications or models with Edge Impulse to build basically Edge AI applications, solve problems that they have, and use Edge AI just to fix this. Yeah, let's go quickly to the page. Basically, it's on the banner that you can see here. If you want to see the same page where I am, we have a total price of cash of $30,000, basically distributed in 12,000 on the best overall project, 5,000 on the best model development, on the best Edge AI application, 5,000 more. We have over 5,000 on AI for good topic that we will need to decide what does it mean AI for good. And finally, we have also another award that I'm very happy with, that it's a student award. So if you're a student, we have an award of $3,000. And yeah, the deadline, basically, it's on Sunday this week. So in 6 days.
I was going to say, it's coming up soon, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's doable, right? If you want, you can still do a very high quality project.
Oh, absolutely.
So wanted to mention a couple of things. We have these 2 tracks, Edge AI application track, where we want to see applications that can be deployed on embedded hardware. And we have the model development track, which are basically very optimized machine learning models that can be used as foundational models for new Edge AI applications that can be done later. But on this session today, I wanted to focus on basically the evaluation parameters and what we want to see. I think with David, we invest one day in Anaheim explaining what we want to see, what's good documentation, trying to set up some guardrails for what people should submit or not. We have already the first submissions, and some of them are lacking of documentation or good models or the wrong, basically, Edge Impulse public projects. So this is why today we wanted to show you some examples and as well trying to give you like the guidance or the guardrails for the judging criteria that we are going to use.
Yeah, and that video, that first one that we filmed, Mark, when we were in Anaheim, is that one on our YouTube playlist? Can folks go back and check that one to review the, because we talked about the criteria, we talked about what makes a good tutorial or project submission. We went over some examples that had a good flow from start to finish. I think that should be on the stream, correct? In YouTube on our channel.
Yeah. I think we can try to find the link.
I'll go grab the URL. I'll grab the link. But yeah.
So I think this is important to share with the people. I think as well, it's important. I don't know if people can see anything or not, or okay, just a blue screen. Oh my god! And now
where?
There we go. It just popped up on Discord for me now.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay,
for me.
Perfect. So I will leave it this way. So you will need to read everything. So for me, if I go to Discord, I don't see anything. Then, important. Yeah, let's try to share the link of the video so people
I'll go find it. Yep.
what you want.
Let me go.
But basically, just very quick. We want like a good story, why you do things, why you choose what you do, why you choose a specific hardware, why you choose a specific software, how do you train your machine learning model. We want to see all of these type of things together in the documentation. The documentation is extremely important because we want to have us or other people trying to replicate your project, and you want to do it without any problem. Yeah. So, and as well, just to remember, this session is for everyone who's watching this. So we are expecting your questions. This is an Ask Me Anything session. Last one that we are gonna run on this hackathon. So we are looking forward to reply as many questions as we can. Please, so ask your questions in the chats.
And Mark, I
Some
did just drop
guidelines.
the link in to that previous
Awesome, fantastic.
session. Yep.
Some guidelines. So everyone needs to go to HackerEarth. If you go to this URL, you will appear on HackerEarth platform. They are the platform who help us to get all the submission before we review them. But afterwards, when you sign up as a developer on HackerEarth, you will appear on Edge Impulse Studio. If you don't have an account, you will need to create an account on Edge Impulse. It's free. You can create up to 3 projects for free. If you already have an account, you don't need to create a new Edge Impulse account. Just go to your account and create your Edge AI project, etc. All submissions must be original work created during the contest period. Yeah, we started to see projects done 2 years ago with the GitHub repositories, not with very old code. So we strongly recommend that, yeah, projects are new or kind of new or are finished for this hackathon. The size of the members, it's not that relevant. I think it's up to 10 these days. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they upped the limit, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about if it's a team of 6 or 7 versus a team of 5. And I think I've seen some individual submissions in there as well, and that's totally fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, there is people asking, can I do 2 submissions? I think you can, technically speaking, but I would say focus on one, on a very high quality submission first, and then use this last week. So I would say if I want to do 2 submissions, what I would do is focus on one submission, maybe submit it today with a high quality one, and then use the next 6 days to create a second submission, but try to have very good quality. Rewatch the video and just try to follow our suggestions. And then it's important, these mandatory submission guidelines that I hope that everyone see on Discord, which is we want to see a GitHub repository, including a detailed README documenting all the development process. Even if you're just doing the model development track, then you can do it as an Edge Impulse public project, okay? But otherwise, you can use as well GitHub repository and do it there. If you are doing an Edge AI application, yeah, we strongly recommend that one, your machine learning model, it's an Edge Impulse public project where it has a good documentation, but you have a GitHub repository, including a detailed step-by-step of why you do the things and how to use this project and how to, yeah. And then, of course,
we spoke about that in the first stream, Mark. I remember where I wasn't too concerned if the README is in GitHub or if it's in the Edge Impulse Studio where as part of the project. I think that in either case, as long as the content itself, the documentation is high quality, it's thorough, it has imagery, it has that nice flow from start to finish, all of the steps are included, you know, I don't think it matters to me. You can certainly offer a different opinion, but as long as it's a high quality finished product, I don't mind if it lives in the GitHub README versus the Studio README.
Let me share a project that I'm building, and maybe you can analyze. No, let's imagine that this is a project that we want to that we want to evaluate during the hackathon evaluation phase that will be next week. So what I'm trying to do is something that, I don't like, that sometimes I go to my wardrobe and I find these two socks paired in my wardrobe. And this is not correct, right? They are not paired, so it should be...
Sure, they're correct. They're both Edge Impulse socks. Of course it's correct.
I want to see you in the offside like this.
You want to see me with a blue and a purple?
So I'm trying to do a machine learning model that detect that these are not pairs. So I need to find another one that pairs with the socks. And let's see. Let me know what you think on this model. If you find this model and you need to evaluate it, what would you say?
If I'm looking at this, hold on a minute. About this project.
This is the README.
It does not have a README yet. 13 images. Scroll down a little bit more, Mark. Just a bit. Is there anything below? No. So there's no README.
Wait a second.
Yeah, there's model accuracy. There's no trained model yet. I mean, if this was a submission, I would have to say that this is not a very good submission. There's 3 specific reasons. Okay, again, we just spoke about the README, so there's no tutorial or documentation here that indicates what is going on. Now, if that lives in GitHub, at the very least, I would want to see a link here to the GitHub repo, but I don't see that, so I'm going to assume that the tutorial, the submission, is supposed to be living here, and it does not exist. The second thing I see here, there's 13 images in your data set. Scroll down, let me have a look at them. I'm just going to glance and eyeball the images themselves. I mean, it is pictures of socks, and they're labeled as pair or not a pair, but 13 items. Yeah, go back to the data set itself. Let me see. Go back to exactly where you just were. Data set. 13 items. Pair, not a pair. Scroll up a little. 69% training. Okay, so you've got a couple of issues here that I'm going to politely call out, Mark. You need to improve upon. 13 items.
Come on, it's not me. Not me.
Come on. 13.
This is a random example that I selected.
Yeah, I know.
Just for you.
13 is not going to be enough to build a high quality model. Number of samples in a data set is a whole nother topic that we could go on and on and on about for an hour alone, but 13 is not going to be enough. And your class balance is not very good, and you haven't split between data. Well, you don't really have that much enough data to even split between training and testing. And then continuing further, you never trained a model. You never went through creating an impulse, the creation, the blocks, adding the blocks, doing the training run, and deploying the model. So
That's exactly what I was going to point out, Dave. That was the first thing I looked at.
Yeah.
I was like, if this was a submission, it's very incomplete. It's it's
I
very
was
surface
going
level.
just linearly. But then, yeah, if you click on Create Impulse on the left, Brian, tell him what he's missing here. Click on Create Impulse.
He is
Oh, I don't know
missing
if you
everything. So if we looked at this submission and we
Yeah.
looked at it, we'd be like, okay, they took a couple pictures of socks, but they didn't really do anything with it. So we wouldn't spend much time evaluating this project. There's nothing in the data set. There's no impulse train. There's no documentation. It's a fun application, but extensively incomplete.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is an example that I created. I don't blame on any David's model or anything. But we already have seen projects like this, documented like this, or not even trained.
Okay.
So we don't want to see.
Yeah, folks
this,
who have submitted something like this are probably going to want to go back and supplement that. I mean, maybe they were just trying to get an initial, just almost like a, in a DevOps loop, but it's going to need to be thoroughly
We have a couple of questions,
revised.
at least on YouTube.
Yeah, sure.
If that makes sense, we can go there. I don't see Discord, so you have Luis Antonio who mentioned, is the Impact Award AI for Good part of the model development track or the Edge AI application track, or both? I think this is a very good question.
Yeah, that is a good
From my
question.
point of view, it doesn't belong to any of the tracks, so it's both. So you can create a model that really helps to create a real impact and enable developers to create these future Edge AI application in the future that will help for multiple things, or you can do an Edge AI application that gets this Impact Award, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
I don't
exactly.
think it needs. Yeah, I don't think it needs to fall within one or the other. I think either of them is totally fine. But if it is truly making an impact, I'm good with it being in either the model or the application track. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly what my.
Go ahead.
I was going to say exactly those are my thoughts as well. That will be pulled from either track. I think it might be easier to show a greater impact if you're doing the Edge AI application where it's a full application, but who knows? Let's see what models come in as well. And there could be some very interesting AI for good ones in the model track as well.
Exactly. On the other hand, if you submit an Edge AI application, you also are going to submit a model, right? That it's going to be public in the project page, like the one that you're seeing now of SOX classification. So yeah, that can be as well the foundation of a lot of future applications as well. I think if there is a good model, it can be super interesting as well for this award, because it can be exponential, right? Create a lot of new Edge AI applications in the future if it helps. We have a second question. If the project is focusing to other language different to English, is there any problem with subtitling the use case video?
I think that's okay.
I don't see a problem.
Yeah, if the use case is in a different language, I only speak English and French, and well, French is so-so. So if it's a different language, as long as it's subtitled and we can understand it, I think that's perfectly fine.
Yep, I agree with that as well.
The README documentation, however, I think needs to be in English because I don't want to feed that through a translator. But if the use case video is in a different language and there's subtitles, that's okay with me.
And what do you think on having the labels or the model train in another language?
The labels?
Yeah.
What do you think, Ryan?
I think it's okay if it's evident what they are. Like if, again, this comes back to some of the previous conversations around clarity of documentation. The more that we have to make assumptions or try to figure something out or go to Google Translate, that is just more difficult, and it's natural that someone reviewing the project, not that they get frustrated, but it's like it doesn't stand out as much as one that is very clearly documented, very easy to follow, less clicking through, less translation. So I think if the labels are evident, where it's a different language but it's very clear, like pair or not a pair, I think that's fine. It's just how easy is it to understand? And I know that's a bit of a vague answer, but the classic "it depends" answer.
What do you
Anyone
think,
else
David?
have thoughts on that? Yeah.
I'm with Brian as well. I think that, if the labels in the data set are clear enough that, even if they are in a non-English language, but a label should only be one word, possibly two words. If I can translate that just to understand, okay, it's it's a bottle, a glass, a cup, or whatever, and the rest of the documentation and the video, even if it is subtitled or whatnot, but if I can understand what the labels are, I'm fine with that. I don't see a problem there. I'm really more concerned about like you said, the quality of the submission overall. The label itself, I'm fine. It's simply an opinion.
And then I inspired on this question. I have another question for you to get your point of view for all the community. So, what do you think if I want to submit a project of the SOX classification and I decide to create a video with AI, with generative AI, with no human voice or anything, and just submit it? What do you think?
If it's just synthetic data with no real world data collection, I think I would.
I mean the video explaining the project.
Oh, Gen AI video. An interesting one. I don't know. I guess I would once again kind of come back to the exact same word, which is quality. Some Gen AI video creation is starting to get really good. if it truly captures all of the all of the steps, all of the tutorial, all of the theme, the use case, explains properly and thoroughly the data set collection and curation, the model training steps that were taken, and deployment, I might be okay with that. On the other hand, if it's really poorly created, terrible Gen AI, then I'm not gonna rank that project too highly when it comes time to grade them. So I don't necessarily want to rule out if it was a Gen AI created video, but I would definitely still hold it to a very high standard.
Yeah, my thoughts are somewhat similar to that. My initial thought process was, if you're creating an application and creating a model, it'd be nice to document what you actually did. If the use case itself is something where you don't have access to fully demonstrate that, if you supplemented your explainer video with some Gen AI of the use case where you can actually go into the field and do it, I think that's cool. But for me personally, it's like, you built this at your desk, presumably you got the data set from somewhere, like show what you actually did. That would be more interesting to me than a Gen AI explainer.
We have another question on YouTube. Can I use a publicly available data set?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the answer is yes,
definitely.
if you have the license. So let's go to the guidelines. Give a sec, sorry for that. I don't know if there are questions on Discord, so could you please
Brian's been addressing those. Yeah,
I've been
them.
waiting
Yeah, just
for
let
the
them
breaking
loud.
conversation. So maybe we'll
Yeah.
get to the Discord question after this data set question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, right there. Data set quality. Wait, you had it for a second there. Although I don't know if that's where it says that you have to have a
oh,
license
sorry.
for it. You know,
I'm trying to read in diagonal. Data set quality.
well documented, relevant to the use
Yeah.
case, open source with permissive licenses, including
Yeah,
commercial
exactly.
use. So over on, assuming that the data set comes from one of the more popular ones like Hugging Face or Kaggle, or some of the, I mean, I guess some of the others do publish themselves. Google has some as well. You know, there's things like Coco, there's things, you know, so you just have to make sure that the licenses allows for use, but publicly available, yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And then Brian, you want to
Yeah,
go through the
let's-
Discord ones?
Yeah, let's hop over to Discord. So a question that was asked a little while ago was, a team is using a board that is not officially supported in Edge Impulse, and they're wondering if they should document everything, such as like pinout configurations and how everything was set up, and document that all in the GitHub. Or should it be more focused on how someone who already had that board could just download and run it? And I have some thoughts, but we'll let you guys go first, and then I can maybe agree or disagree.
Yeah, let's see. Hold on, let me read your answer.
Yeah, I haven't typed an answer out yet.
I'm teasing. I think for me, I'll offer up my opinion. I think it would need to be thorough enough that someone would be able to replicate it. So if it's a board that's not supported, you know, I really would like to see as complete as possible so that if I were to want to go and build the project, I could just simply order that hardware, whatever it may be, and follow along your guide. And if that needs to include some you know, which pins to be attaching a sensor to, or you know, having some schematics or having some illustrations, of course, photos along the way as well, and the, you know, a link to purchase the part or specific part numbers. I think I really would like to see all of that. And, you know, I'm not saying that you need to write an entire novel. It doesn't need to be the length of War and Peace, 2,000 pages. But I would kind of want to see all of that detail, yeah, because if I want to go build this and the next person that comes along wants to build it, it may very well need that level of information.
And I'm sure you have that board in your drawer.
Maybe. Well, hold on. What board
money.
was it? We're going to use a board that is not supported. It doesn't say what board, but that's okay. But that's my 2 cents.
You know what I would say, or I would do? I would create a GitHub repository only explaining how to, actually how we do in the docs, right? Explaining how to run this board on the Edge Impulse CLI, how to deploy the CLI of Edge Impulse on it.
Yeah, in case it needs some firmware or
explaining,
something.
you know, the characteristics, and then from the application, from the hackathon, just link to that repository documenting how to run this board with Edge Impulse CLI, for example.
Yeah.
So you can keep it separated, right? If someone wants to use it and just do something else with Edge Impulse, you can refer to that repository. If someone wants to read your application, it's here and they are interconnected. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, so I have my official answer and my unofficial answer.
You got 2 answers? I didn't know we could have 2 answers.
Oh yeah, I'm going multiple answers.
All right. Let's hear them.
My official answer is the same as David's. So it's like a complete documented project. Someone should be able to replicate it, only going through your documentation, supplemental links to parts, pinout configurations. Awesome. I love it. That's the official answer. The unofficial answer is that I'm not going to buy your board. I'm not going to double check the pinout configuration. I'm not going to test any of this. So there's not really a way that I'm going to validate that. And if you're short on time and
come
don't
on,
have the
we need to put Brian off the
He's
I'm gonna
getting
get
kicked out of the
cut.
street. He's getting cut.
Yeah. But no, but really, if you have a
true.
limited amount of time and you can't go to that level of depth, I think the more important part is describing the use case, describing the Edge Impulse process. I think that is the heart of what we're looking at versus a pinout configuration.
Yeah. You know what? With that description in mind that you've just provided, Brian, and with the knowledge that there's only 7 days left to get this, or 6 days left to get the submission in. If the user is just getting started with documentation right now, yeah, I'm with you on that, Brian. The use case and the Edge Impulse bits and pieces are the highest priority. If the user is further along in their journey and is at this point only doing some final cleanup and formatting and other bits, then it would be a nice to have so that a user could, like we said in the beginning, just follow along start to finish. But yeah, I suppose the answer then becomes it depends how far they are. Yeah.
And that ties
with
in
6 days left. Yeah.
And that ties in perfectly with the next question as well. So there's a user on Discord from Nigeria where electrical grid issues are a big problem. So they're doing a smart energy insight node to monitor energy grids. The first part of the question was generating a real data set will be hard. So I wonder if I can mix in some synthetic data. We've covered this before. Absolutely. Synthetic data is used a lot to train models these days, and it can actually make the models more robust. So absolutely, synthetic data is all good. But then the second part of the question was about basically saying I'm running low on time. I might not be able to 3D print it says hardware, but I'm imagining it means the hardware enclosure. Will that impact my submission? I don't think it will impact your submission because it's a nice to have. It doesn't change the application. It's just that more completeness and thoroughness. And to David's point, like if you had a section like hardware enclosure and say in future improvements, blah, 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 I would create a 3D printed design to enclose this and make it weatherproof. But I don't think that's going to have a significant impact on your application, your story, your use case. The Edge Impulse model is just one of those nice to haves if you have time.
Yeah,
and maybe it's a good idea to have at the bottom of the project like a to-do list of the things that you didn't achieve to develop, right? And just share it in the open that what you plan to do and you couldn't make it happen, right?
And the user who asked that question is typing. Hopefully it's a thank you, but maybe it's a follow-up question. We'll see.
It could be a follow-up question. We better grab Thomas's question in the meantime while Discord is getting us a response. And all right, what does Thomas say? And good to hear from you, Thomas. Related to the video, is it enough to have one or a couple of short GIF videos in the repository, or do you expect a video where the author is explaining what was done and how? Mark, do you want to grab that one?
Yeah, if you have the two answers, you can go ahead.
Is there two answers?
The official and unofficial Brian answers?
Unofficial answer. Thomas, which one do you want, the official answer or the unofficial answer? Well, he's got a follow up though, meaning kind of summarizing what is in the README file. I think I'll go with both official and unofficial answers here as well. I think again, it would be nice to have a companion video that goes along with the tutorial, with the submission. If again you're pressed for time and you just can't get a video done in addition to the tutorial, then okay, as long as that submission, that project, that documentation is thorough, is articulate, is very high quality, and you get a couple of animated GIFs in along the way as explainers, as concepts, so that you can visually see what is occurring, I think I, as a judge, would be good with that. Mark, you may have to go over to the rules and regulations and inform me if you specifically included that a video must also be...
No, it's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory. Okay. And then, and then again, now you think about, all right, video creation. Well, hold on. Are we talking about a 30-minute deep dive? That'll take forever to produce that kind of... I mean, we produce video content. We know how long it takes to capture, film, edit, and post-produce video. If it's a 1 minute, 2 minute high level overview that goes along to add some additional color to the submission, yeah, that's kind of nice. But, I think it comes down to exactly what Brian described earlier of, well, there's only 6 days left. Focus on the important bits. Yeah.
So this is not mandatory. It's a plus, right? If we see a nice video from you, that's fantastic. But just focus on the documentation, on the application, on the model. Yeah.
I think a 1 to 2 minute explainer, if you have time, I think that's fantastic. It just makes your overall submission pop a little bit more. A 30-minute explainer, I might actually, oh man, I have to watch 30 minutes now.
Put it on 2x.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be 2x speed watching that.
Thomas, you're gonna be watched at 2x.
We have a submission with a video.
Good. Yeah, no, that's good. But I think, like Brian was saying, a 2 minute overview of the project is a nice to have. But again, depends on where you're at in the process thus far, Thomas, on what to focus on.
And going back to Discord, so Thomas is happy with that answer. Going back to Discord, yeah, he does. He doesn't have to do a 30-minute video. He's stoked.
He's happy.
Please.
All right, back to Discord. So we're talking about the model track, and is a full evaluation of the model accuracy, TPR, etc., and the hardware-specific metrics like timing, so inference, speed, latency, code size, max RAM needed for the data, etc. Are we looking for that kind of depth? And before I pass it over to you guys, I think what we talked about before in previous session was more about the iteration. So how did you improve your model over time? And yes, more metrics are going to be good, saying I improved the accuracy, I reduced the latency, I was able to get a smaller model that can fit on a smaller device. That's all great, but I believe the model track was focused on the iteration and how you used Edge Impulse to improve on that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Brian. I think that maybe some of these metrics and some of this would, of course, add exactly what we've been talking about all along, would add to a more thorough submission. But I think that the data set collection, the curation, and any steps taken to improve and iterate, what parameters did you use in your training? If you go that far on the data side. So I think all of that stuff is probably the more important bits. But I do think that some of these, let me go back to Discord to see the question again. Evaluation of the model. How did you cut down or reduce, inference time, things like that? That's important stuff. Yeah. So I think my answer is probably yes and no.
I think the short answer for me is that we don't need a massive deep dive on metrics and the math behind them. But if you have a handful of key metrics, even if it's 2 or 3 key metrics that you focused on, how did you improve those over time? What were the steps that you took? How did you experiment? I think that's the more important thing to show.
Yep.
Absolutely. I think, focus on the scientific method, right? You have an hypothesis, try to demonstrate the hypothesis, and share everything, right? We have this bullet point of iterations and research. document the iterative process, including experiments, optimizations, demonstrate how the model was validated, and clear explanation of everything. And then as well, I think it's super important here, clear explanation on the next developers who are going to use this model for their applications, how to use it, how to retrain the model, what conditions, what ideas for them. So I think that if someone wants to submit an application explaining to me that I can use that model, how he or she or the team achieved to that specific accuracy or performance or whatever, but explaining to me how can I retrain it or how can I use it, I think that's fantastic. More questions?
That's it from the Discord side of things right now.
Yeah,
but I just prompted them to see if they have any more, because I don't think you have anything else specific you want to share for the rest of this hour, Mark. So this is the time to get the questions in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if there are no other questions, we can definitely wrap it up. But by all means, this is just exactly what it says, AMA. Let's get questions answered.
When you submit your project, please, my recommendation is go to the Edge Impulse website. So as a reminder, so you need to publish your project, right? Wait a second. So you need to publish your project. So you need to go to the dashboard. I think we already explained this. And there is a button here on the top, right, that says publish the project. You need to add the README. And that's the initial commit. It's kind of a GitHub repository, right? So add the README there. And then I would say to check that the project has been published properly, I would go to publish projects. So you go to developers, projects. You go to this website, you click to see all. And then instead of the most view, you go to the most recent. And you need to find your model here. So for example, I found my SOX classification here.
Just to interrupt you, Mark, you're still showing the SOX classification.
Yeah, you're on the SOX classifier.
Oh.
Not the public projects page.
Sorry for that. Okay, so wait a sec. So I was meaning to be here. Yeah, thank you for the heads up.
Yeah, there we go.
So go to developers projects. Okay, go to see all the projects, and then into the most view, click the most recent, and you should be able to see your project here.
Yeah.
Okay, in my case, my project is here. SOX classification, and click. Okay.
You got 7 views
opens
already.
a new page. Yeah, that it's here. Okay, but this is the way to just understand. So this is the URL that you will need to copy.
Yep.
If I'm not wrong.
Yep.
Right.
That's correct.
Yeah,
so
excellent. So on Discord, we're covered. People are happy with the answers, so we're quiet over there. Looks like YouTube, LinkedIn are quiet. So maybe we can hop to the recap, and we might end a few minutes earlier today.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then extra suggestion. So this is our Discord. Go to the Discord and ask any questions here. I have seen some of you asking very long questions with issues that you have. So some of you will be redirected to the forums, where all the Edge Impulse engineers as well can help you. But yeah, my recommendation is join the Edge Impulse Discord. And yeah, we can help you from there. We can answer your questions. If you have any issues submitting the project, I think this is the place to be.
Yeah, perfect. And
anything else to add?
Well, just the recap for today. The focus was talking about completeness of a submission. So if you're going to submit your project, this SOX classification example only had data, was very incomplete. The how to document your project is just thoroughness, clarity. If a video's in a different language, yes, absolutely, have some subtitles there. Can you use synthetic data? Yes, absolutely. Public data sets, absolutely. But make sure it's a permissive license so that can actually be shared. And if you're running short on time, focus on what matters. Document the key pieces first. And then, as Mark suggested, and I kind of mentioned as well, maybe put in a future improvement section at the end of your project so we can see what you were thinking about, but just didn't have time to get to.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, as Mark always says, we're in Discord. We're there. Ask your questions and we'll get it sorted.
And good luck. And and we will connect the 8th of January. 8th of December, just to announce the winners of the hackathon.
All right.
That's coming up soon.
To see everyone on Discord and on YouTube and LinkedIn when we will announce the projects and why.
All right. Well, good luck, everyone. Get those submissions in. And if you have any questions, just find us on Discord.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.